Today is a holy day for Christians, as it is the time when they celebrate the resurrection of Jesus Christ of Nazareth from the dead, after his crucifixion 3 days earlier. Here in Jamaica, the period is marked by reflection, church events, and a holiday which brings the family together. Our Easter traditions include the eating of bun and cheese, as well as fish and bread. You might have spent Good Friday and Easter Sunday in church. And of course, there's the family vacation many enjoy. However you plan to celebrate this Easter, if those plans include use of our roads, we urge you to take care.
Each time you're not paying full attention to the road environment, the greater your chances of getting in a crash like that. Plan routes to avoid focusing on GPS systems, prevent children from roaming in motor vehicles, turn down the volume of car stereo systems, pull off the roadway if you have to use mobile devices, do not read, watch television or eat while driving, avoid multitasking, and keep conversations with other passengers to a minimum. Whether you walk, ride or drive, avoid potentially fatal distractions.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness recently announced that construction will start on the Houses of Parliament this financial year. COVID-19 may have put a pause on the plans, but they are back in full swing. Get some background information on the ambitious project in this next feature. And here's a spoiler alert. The winning design for the building is, out of many, One People by architect Evan Williams and his team.
This building will seek to bring the people of Jamaica and their elected representatives in a closer harmony and oneness of purpose by Jamaicans for Jamaicans.
I think the quality and standard of architecture that was submitted and selected is really at the highest level.
All the designs are very open, very transparent, allowing not just air and light to circulate.
Any of the five chosen, we would have a spectacular building which Jamaica will be proud of.
We're going to build this parliament, and we're going to do it the right way. We're going to take all concerns on board. We're going to take all suggestions on board. It is going to be bipartisan, multi-sectoral, and it will be done in the best interest of all the peoples of Jamaica.
It's really going to change the way that people think about Jamaican architecture.
The excitement is already in the air.
Now just imagine in a few years, this space and the wider downtown area will be transformed into a vibrant, enviable, iconic destination. The Houses of Parliament will be the anchor stone for all of that. It will hold a central position in Kingston, the capital. We will have 14 government ministries and core agencies conveniently and efficiently located within the 300 acres of surrounding land. Can you imagine the efficiency of that when we purposely plan and build for an efficient government?
The National Road Safety Council has reported an increase in road fatalities associated with motor vehicle crashes. We want you to arrive at your destination alive. So please, watch this next feature to get tips to live by as you traverse the nation's roads this Easter.
Pedestrians, it is only safe to cross this designated part of the road if you follow the road rules. Never attempt to cross before the indication is given, and do not try to beat the oncoming traffic which has the green light.
You have overhead bridges, and overhead bridges are safe areas that are provided for pedestrians to cross. What we are seeing are pedestrians dashing across dual carriageways and then leaping over concrete medians. That is a no-no. We have had persons who have lost their lives doing that. And I am now appealing to pedestrians to do the right thing and access the overhead bridges that are provided in order to save your own life.
Where there is no overhead bridge or crossing sign, use the pedestrian crossing with caution. Monitor the lights and cross when it's safe to do so. That is a dangerous practice and a 99.9% chance of this happening.
The amount of kinetic energy that comes on your body, that is going to determine whether or not you survive.
There are several signs. Road signs are the language of the road. You have informational signs, directional signs, warning signs, and you have enforcement signs. Enforcement signs are erected upright or those that are drawn on the road surface. For example, you have stop sign, one-way sign, and it points in the direction where the one-way is. No U-turn, no parking, no right turn, no entry, a number of signs. If there is no sign that are erected upright, you will see yellow markings painted on curb walls. That constitute no parking, and you should not park in those areas. You park where white painting is drawn on those curb walls. Those are areas where parking is permitted. You have continuous white lines that are drawn on road surface. No motorist should drive to the right of a continuous white line. There are some other signs, especially like along Knutsford Boulevard, where the dual carriageway is, but there is any elevated median. You see something looking like a zebra crossing. Those crossing depicts a median, but a median that is not elevated. If you disobey a stop sign, it carries a fine of $4,000 or 6 demerit points. If you disobey the traffic light, the red light, that too carries $4,000 a fine or 6 demerit points. On the approach of a traffic light, for example, Halfway Tree Road, Chelsea Avenue, by GIS there is no filter light. You are to obey the light, and whenever you get green, you are to proceed. These lights are so configured that they allow for a pedestrian to cross. So when that red light is on, pedestrians are crossing. So that's why a filter light is not put in. When approaching a roundabout, you are to yield to the person to the right. Right? Always allow for that person to go first. Similar thing with a yield sign, a giveaway sign. You are to yield to the person and allow that person to proceed. If you happen to overtake, you are to do so if the way is clear, and once you complete that maneuver, you are to get back to the left lane and remain there. We have persons anticipating the light. You have those that are anticipating the green, and even before the green comes on, they are off. And you have others who are beating the amber in order to go by as well. And I should tell you this, Red means you are to stop. Amber means you are to prepare to stop. And green means you are to go if the way is clear.
And remember, always wear your seatbelt.
The travel file application was created by the Transport Authority for the protection of the commuting public. Please download the travel file application on the Google Play Store or the Apple iOS Store. Once you download the application, put in your phone number, register the application under your phone number, and then you'll be able to verify the license plate that you're going in. Once you verify the license plate and the information of the vehicle, you will then be able to share that trip of the vehicle that you're in. And if there is difficulty on the trip, you would then will be able to push a panic button and share your location with others as well. Download the application, give us our feedback at customerservice@ta.org.jm. Don't forget, it's free to download, free to use.
As we spend time with family this Easter, we share a location that families can visit while getting an appreciation of the need for environmental conservation.
The Black River Morass is actually the largest wetland area in Jamaica. The upper morass was used for planting rice some years ago. That has ceased, and as a result, we have lost that area. But the lower morass is still here, and it provides not just a safari boat tour, but shrimping, fishing, and there's a lot of bird life still in the lower morass. It has been declared a wetland of international importance, a Ramsar site.
The Black River Morass is home to hundreds of crocodiles, vegetation, and other aquatic animals. Through guided tours offered along the river, you can glide upstream to learn more about the wetlands and all its inhabitants.
Welcome on board the Safari Diva and welcome to the Black River Safari. My name is Roger and I'll be your captain and also your tour guide. Our trip will take us approximately 4 kilometers upstream, during which I'll show you some birds, wetland vegetation, and some of our very friendly crocodiles. Presently, we're on the Black River, and this is Jamaica's longest navigable river. It is 44 miles long, about 70 kilometers. Well, surrounding us, we have over 21,000 acres of swamp, and this is the largest wetlands in the Caribbean. It is also home for over 65 different species of birds. 17 years ago, it was estimated there was a little bit over 100 crocodiles living within the area. And since then, their number have increased as they are on the endangered species list. They were once hunted for their skin to make a nice shoes or a good handbag. They are protected. No hunting of crocodiles in Jamaica. Well, they are part of our heritage. They're on our coat of arms with the crocodiles at the top, Indians at the side.
Unlike what we may believe in Jamaica, our crocodile here, Crocodylus acutus, is one of the most docile of the crocodilian species. The thing about it is that they help to cull the fish population, the animals, the fish that are diseased or the fish that are dead, they will eat them and so on. So that it's well worth having those crocodiles here within our wetland areas.
These birds you are looking at, they are called egret, commonly known as galling. The reason for the birds to nest in this location, behind us, this is our local fish market. So once those small boat comes from sea, they'll have some food to get. In the river, we can catch big fish like tarpon. Those can get up to 200 pounds. And snook, which is a very good eating fish, can get up to 50 pounds. And the African perch, mullet, snapper, several different types. It's very good for fishing. So by the shallow edge of the river, it is also the main habitat for our freshwater shrimp. This little device I have here, this is called a shrimp trap. It is made from the bamboo plant. We'll use for bait roasted coconut, oranges, or even a piece of chicken. Now once the shrimp goes in, it's difficult for them to go out. The conical shape helps to keep them in. So we'll just hold it and twist it. It opens up so we can shake them out. It's actually very simple, but it is effective. The design came from West Africa over 200 years ago, and it is still used today. The vegetation or trees, they are called mangrove, which we have two types of mangroves tree, white and red. White mangrove, small leaves, and they are brighter in color. Red mangrove have much bigger leaves and also have those aerial root that goes into the water. It takes up all the minerals and nutrients for the tree. This section of the river we're entering, we call here Mangrove Avenue, as it forms a canopy similar to our Bamboo Avenue. These are all red mangrove trees, the ones that have the roots going into the water. In the early 1900s, the bark or skin of red mangrove was used for making a type of dye which we call tannin.
Did you know that the water in the Black River is actually clear? The river got its name due to the dark shade created by the presence of peat soil on the riverbed.
Peat soil, which is at the bed of the river, that is giving off the dark reflection. It also has its advantage and its disadvantage. The advantage, whenever time we have heavy rainfall or during hurricane, the soil, it acts as a sponge which absorbs the excess water. So we have no flooding activity within the area. However, when the water level gets too low, the peat soil, it gives off the methane gas. And with the help of sunlight, it will ignite.
There are many different types of wetlands. In Jamaica, the most common wetlands are coastal mangroves, morasses, lakes, and ponds. For more information on the Black River Morass and all the other wetland areas in Jamaica, visit the National Environment and Planning Agency's website at www.nepa.gov.jm.
To encourage all Jamaicans to be a part of the My Tree Legacy promotion. Planting trees is important and critical to our survival. It builds resilience. It provides us with air, water, and food. Go out today, plant a tree, renew your environment.
Register your alma mater for the Forestry Department's My Tree Legacy promotion and be a part of the preservation of Jamaica land we love. Let us highlight your contribution to the My Tree Legacy promotion by submitting videos or pictures of you leaving your mark. Every tree counts. Plant a tree today and keep climate change away.
Here's another family recreation spot that's sure to bring your loved ones closer.
They offer a large serving of nature with a dash of history and science. Public gardens, created and maintained to educate Jamaicans on the importance of plant life. They also provide free green spaces to enjoy the benefits of the great outdoors. There are 4 such spaces on the island, all supported by the Ministry of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries. And after making our way through Bath and trekking through Castleton in the first part of our journey,
we're now 4,800 feet above sea level. The Cinchona Botanical Gardens, located in the cool, moist hills of East Rural St. Andrew.
Cinchona was first established in 1868 by the then Governor Sir John Peter Grant. At that time, the gardens was used as an experimental location. Various plants from other European countries were brought here for medicinal purposes, like the eucalyptus, the camphor, and other herbs are grown up here.
Cinchona is unique as it is the only garden in the Caribbean at such a high elevation.
Cinchona got its name at the time when there was a malaria infestation on the island, and that Cinchona plant was brought to Jamaica by a governor of Peru. The Cinchona plant was used to cure the malaria by way of extracting the bark of the plant and transforming that into quinine. And they used that to work on the malaria.
There are no conservation programs at Cinchona, but if you're feeling adventurous, make the hike and study an array of exotic plants on location, including the almost 200-year-old hoop pine. Our journey ends at the largest green space in the Kingston metropolitan area. Though run by the non-governmental organization Nature Preservation Foundation, it still receives a subsidy from the government and is free to the public.
Hope Gardens comprises of 260 acres stretching from Old Hope Road to Skyline Drive, but the actual gardens is mainly 60 active acres. The garden was a gift to Major Richard Hope, who was part of the contingency of Pennant Venables who came to conquer the island in about 1655 when the English invaded and took over from the Spanish.
Hope was an experimental site. They introduced exotic plants here and replanted them on the island once successfully propagated. Offspring of these plants remain in the garden.
We have the cannonball tree, which is native to the Amazon rainforest, that bears a fruit that takes 18 months to ripe, and it also weighs about 15 pounds. We also have the sausage tree, and that fruit can weigh anywhere between 15 to 27 pounds, and it really does look like a huge German sausage. The tree is native to West Africa, in Senegal.
Hope is vital in the conservation of the island's wildlife and flora.
We have a particular project in which we go to the cockpit country and get endemic plants, take them back to Hope Gardens, grow them and reintroduce them into the wild. The zoo also has a world-famous iguana project in which they have rediscovered the local Jamaican iguana, bred them successfully in captivity, and have introduced over 400 native iguanas into the hills of Hellshire.
This garden is usually bustling with activities. Family gatherings, professional photography, and school excursions are among the popular happenings.
The Chinese Garden is also a special place within the Hope Gardens. It was a gift, a $3 million US gift from the People's Republic of China to the people and government of Jamaica.
I like about Hope Gardens is that you are free. You can do anything you want. You can paint, you can play, you can go to the zoo, like see the animals.
My group came here because we have a history group project. We thought that coming to the Hope Gardens would be a good idea, especially on a Sunday, because on a Sunday It's quiet, and I think it's very conducive to practice. There's greenery, and it's an open space. So, you know, you get a nice fresh breath of air while you're here, and it's, I think it helps you to focus more on what you need to do.
Hope Gardens is a getaway for persons wanting a break from the hustle and bustle of city life. A visit to public gardens provides this opportunity. Nature beckons. What are you waiting for?
In these hands and multiply, God, all that I am, and find my heart on the altar again. Set me on fire, set me on fire. Come on, sing. Say, all I have in these hands and multiply, God, all that I am, and find my heart on the altar again. Set me on fire. Ask him to set me on fire. Here I am, God, arms wide open, pouring out my life, gracefully broken.
And that's how we close out on this Easter Monday edition of Jamaica Magazine. As you enjoy the holiday, we urge you to remember the reason for the season. Missed aspects of today's and past programs? Then visit our YouTube channel to catch up. We're also available on our website, social media, and your smartphone's app store. On behalf of the entire team here at the JIS, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Happy Easter.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.